Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Welcome to today's webinar, which is the start of our badging event on management reports. So this is number one in this series, and it is on nominal codes. My name is Matt. I'll be guiding you through nominal codes today. And the estimated time is going to be around about 45 minutes. You may get some time back, but we'll see. So what are we going to be looking at originally? Well, first off, I'm going to give you an introduction to the nominal ledger. We're going to have a look at the nominal code types and then move into the nominal structure. I'm then going to go into a demonstration. And the demonstration is going to be quite a long one because I'm going to cover all the points that you need to cover with regards to nominal codes. After that, we'll return to the slides and we'll go through each slide and that'll demonstrate what I've just shown you in the demonstration, if you're with me. Then we'll have a quick summary and we'll show you some extra support and obviously the itinerary for the rest of the badging week. Looking forward to that. Now, if you've been here before, you know the rules. If you don't, then here are the rules. Essentially, your microphone is automatically muted, so we're not going to hear you cough or sneeze or sing along to the radio, so you're absolutely fine. You've got your speech bubble there with a question mark, and that is for you to send in questions. Today, we've got Abby and Michael at hand to answer any questions that you have. We prioritise the questions in connection with the subject matter first. So any nominal codes questions will be answered immediately. Any other questions that we have may be answered afterwards. We'll contact you outside of the webinar. The handout is available for you to download as well. It is available in full colour with active links and also in black and white, so it's easier for printing for you. If you download that now, it's done and dusted essentially, and you won't forget to do it. So they are the rules. Now then, what are we going to be looking at first? As I said before, we're going to be looking at the nominal ledger. What is it? And what does it do? Well, I'll not keep you all waiting too much longer. Here we are. So what is it? The nominal code is obviously is assigned to every single transaction. They're used to categorize transactions for your reporting purposes so that when you run a report, the correct figures are going to the correct places to give you an accurate representation of what's happening in your accounts and in your business. Makes it a lot easier for you to keep track of what's happening. Now, the nominal codes are organized by the chart of accounts. I'm not going to delve too much into the chart of accounts. We have that as number 2 tomorrow with Jackie. So please, if you haven't registered for that one, she'll be going in the ins and outs of the chart of accounts. But essentially, majoritively, it displays your balance sheet, your profit and loss. You can also view your codes, your nominal codes, in a couple of different ways. As you can see on the screen there, that is in analyzer mode. I tend to have mine in list mode, but I'll show you in the demonstration what the differences are. Now, there's 3 main types of nominal code. There's your bank account nominal codes, your control account nominal codes, and then your nominal account, essentially. Now, a bank account nominal code is different to that of the rest because it specifically tracks your banking movement. And you can't use a standard nominal code template for it. Again, in the demonstration, I'll show you what I mean by that. The control accounts work in the background for you. They take care of all the double entry bookkeeping. Again, it's all done automatically for you, so I'll just be briefly touching on that in the next slide, but it's the background transactions mainly that it takes care of. And then you've got your nominal accounts, which is basically all your other standard nominal codes within the software. So not banking or control accounts, it's any others, essentially. Again, if you've downloaded the handout, a couple of links on there just as refreshers that you can click on and view at your leisure. A bit more about the control accounts. So these are used when automatic postings are made, for example, to your debtors and creditors control accounts. So an example that I'm going to be showing you is if you paid the bill £100 net, £20 tax, so 120 altogether, a control account in the background would be sending £100 to your sales ledger, £20 to your tax liability normal account. That's done in the background for you by Sage, but it's just an example of what a control account is. You can't delete them, control accounts. But if you haven't entered any activity into a control account, you could potentially change the nominal code. But once there's activity registered against it, I wouldn't advise changing it even if you could, because it may confuse future figures, essentially. Now, What you see in front of you on the right-hand side, these are pretty much the defaults from debtors control account down to manual adjustments. You can have different nominal structures if you set them up differently. There's no hard and fast rule behind that. These are your accounts. It's up to you how you want them to look. If you've got any questions about nominal code structure that isn't default, it's best to speak to your accountant or the author of the nominal structure that you're using to find out why it's been done in certain ways. Sage won't be able to really delve into that with you. If it's default, a lot easier for us to have a look at. What you will notice is at the bottom of that example as well, you can see exchange rate variance. There's no number there. And that's because that is to do with a module in Sage, an additional module called Foreign Trader. And because it hasn't been active in the program example there, there's no nominal code assigned. If I was to activate Foreign Trader, it would ask me to register a nominal code next to it. It's not unique to exchange rate variance, but as an example again, if you do have a blank space next to a nominal code, it's probably because you haven't used it before. And if you're going to use it, just assign it a code. So, control accounts, the automatic postings. I did give you this example just so you can visualize it though. As you can see, when we've created this posting, there is only one nominal code, 4,100. Okay, so that's where the £120 gross is registered to. However, in the background, the control account is crediting sales code 4100 with £100 and sales tax control account £20. It's working out all in the background for you. Sage is taking care of it. So again, just an example there. So the nominal structure itself, standardized, default. What does it look like? And here it is. So nominal codes are 4 digits by default. You can't have more than 4 digits. I don't know why. It would get maybe confusing in the future. 4 digits, plenty enough we find in most standard nominal structures. They're grouped together, as I said again, by the chart of accounts. That's for reporting purposes. And it just puts in the right figures in the right places so that when you're looking through your reports, you can find what you need to find, where you need to find it quickly. Now, the ranges can be subcategorized. Okay, I'm going to show this in my demonstration again. When you are creating nominal codes, always think about the subcategory. It'll become clearer once I'm clicking through with you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through that demonstration now. I think I've talked about it enough for you. Demonstration, it's going to be in connection with everything with regards to nominal codes and the structure. We're not going to really delve too much into profit and loss, P&L or balance sheet or anything like that at all. These are going to be available and your management reports going to be available in future webinars over the next coming week to earn your management reports badge. Okay, so this is an overview, it's a kickoff, it's the start of the actual series itself. So any questions that you've got during this time, please fire away. We'll answer them as quickly and efficiently as possible. If not, we'll be in touch afterwards. But again, Michael and Abby are at hand for you now. So let's jump over to my software. Here we have it. So I've opened up my Sage 50, and on the left-hand side here, there's my modules. I'm going to go to nominal codes. Now the Analyzer view and the List view is an option that's available in the top right-hand corner here. So Analyzer means you can click on these little X's or plus signs, and it will give you a breakdown of what's in there. Again, this is just out of preference, how you like to see things. Myself, I choose list, put it in numerical order, and I can navigate to which one I want. You can also use the search functionality as always, and include inactive or disinclude them, essentially. Now, what I want to show first is before you create anything, swap and clear, make sure that you've got nothing highlighted whatsoever. Now, in this demonstration, I want to be creating a new sales product nominal code for a new division. As you can see, I have Sales North, Sales South, Sales Scotland, Sales Wales, Sales International. I want to create Sales Northern Ireland for this example. Now, as you can see, from 4,000 down to 4,905, that's my sales ledger. And I want it to be in that range. For the purpose of this example alone, again, instantly I'm going to decide I want to use 4,101 because it's in the sales ledger. Before I do that though, what I want to check is the subcategory. I know it's free because there isn't a 4,101 here, but checking the subcategory is going to inform me if it's the right thing to do or not. So let's have a look. How would we do that? Chart of accounts at the top. Select your chart of accounts. Click edit. Once you're in here, we're not really concerned about anything that's going on here on the right-hand side. We're concerned with what's here. Profit and loss, balance sheet. So profit and loss obviously shows if your company's in profit or loss. And the balance sheet is the overall value of the company itself. I'm focusing on profit and loss, but the same rules apply for balance sheet. Okay. So profit and loss, first off, you've got your categories here at the top. So you've got your sales, your overall category, and that is the range I was discussing before from 4,000 to 5,000. Purchases, 5,000 upwards. These may look different depending on how you've set your nominal structure, but if it's default, this is how it's going to look. So as I said, I wanted to create product sales for Northern Ireland. And if you remember, I said I wanted to select 4101. So the eagle-eyed amongst you may have noticed, if I was to pick that, it would place it in this bracket here, but that would fall into export sales. So if I hadn't checked my subcategory and just created the nominal code for Northern Ireland, then every single sale that I processed in that nominal code would have been displayed in the wrong place. Therefore, my reports would have been incorrect. Now I know that my range is between 4,000 4,099. So I know that I have to choose something within that range. So this is the importance of checking your subcategories. Again, with the chart of accounts here, tomorrow Jackie's going to go through that in great detail with you. So sign up, register if you haven't done that already. You'll be hearing more about this page tomorrow. So through my research, what I've decided now is I'm going to try and keep the number as close to these numbers as possible without going outside of the allotted number fields. So I'm going to close, and I'm going to pick, for the sake of ease, 4005. That makes sense in this demonstration, just to tuck it in after Sales International. So how do I create that? There's a few ways. Okay. First one, I could duplicate. So if the structure is going to be the same as these, Sales North, South, Scotland, Wales, and International, up at the top here, I've got the duplicate option. If I click that, all it does now is brings up the creation box. I type in 4005. Obviously, it's not displayed there. If I was to type in 4001, for example, Sales South would pop up. 4005, it shows me that it's free. I would type in the name, so Northern Ireland, essentially, Sales Northern Ireland into there. And then I would click Save. And it would create a duplicate copy of the other nominal codes for me. I'm not going to do that in this instance, because I want to show you the other ways of doing it. The other way is to start from scratch. So that would be to click New. Again, same window, 4005, and then NI sales, for example. Could easily do that. Click Close. Again, I'm not going to do it that way just for the sake of the demonstration, just to show you how everything works. The last option for me is probably the best option, and that is to use the wizard. So if I select the wizard at the top, automatically comes up with suggestions for me. So I want to create a new nominal account, and I want to give it the same name, but Northern Ireland at the end. So sales, Northern Ireland. Type, it's a sales nominal code. So pick that. Category, product sales. Remember this from the chart of accounts before? And the nominal code is automatically suggested as 4005 for me. If I was to, example, put export sales, look, there we are, 4101. But it's not. This is going to be product sales. So my recommendation, in order to keep human error as far away from creation as possible, is to use the wizard. Type in the name, tell it what type, select the category, it will suggest a free nominal code for you. Once you've done that, you would click Next. It'll ask you about opening balances. In this instance, It's a new division for me in the demonstration, so I'm not going to create one. I'll just create that nominal code. And there we have it there. Nice and easy. If I wanted to change anything, right click and edit, or highlight and edit. I could change the name if I wanted to. So if I wanted to change that to just NI, for example, all I would do is change the name. Once there's activity posted against that nominal code, won't be able to change its nominal code number here or anything like that at all, because it's got activity, and obviously record keeping needs to be accurate. So you won't be able to change it. You can use the same nominal code twice if you do bring everything down to 0, but just be careful because there may be numbers lurking in the background, historic numbers that when you run fresh reports may pull through. So if ever you're creating a nominal code, best advice is to create it from scratch. Don't be using an old one, use a new one, as long as it's available. Brilliant. So that would be to create the standard nominal code. Now what I want to show you as well is the bank account, because this is a big core driver for us. So if I quickly show you bank accounts here, from 1200 to 1240, that's my banking range. That's what I have. If I go to my nominal codes, I created a new banking nominal code. There, see the range here to the range there. For the demonstration started, I created this current account 2, because I have 2 current accounts. Just there. You notice 1201. But if I nip back to my bank accounts, it's not there. And the reason for that is because it hasn't been set up as a banking nominal code. So what do I mean by that? If I was to double click here into my standard bank account, which is nominal code 1200, you'll see here account type, bank account. If I go to my new current account that I set up, it's only been set up as a nominal account. And that is because banking nominal codes have to be set up in the banking accounts module. Otherwise, they will not work. If you have set it up previously and there's no activity against it, you can convert it, or you can just create a new one in the bank account section. So if I go to bank accounts here, for example, and I create new, and I select 1201, it will tell me it already exists. I say yes, I want to convert it into a bank account. So click yes, and after that I would click save and close, and there it is. It is now in my bank accounts banking module. Still in nominal codes. And if we double click on it now, there you are, account type, bank account. So the key learn from that is if you are creating a bank account nominal code, it must be created within bank accounts, because that will create the banking nominal code. If you create it in the nominal codes module, it's just going to be a nominal account. It's not going to be correct. So figures aren't going to go where they're meant to go, essentially. So do we have any questions on that so far while I'm in the demonstration? I think Michael's on top of the morning, Abby. Superb. Because that's really the full demonstration for you. Excellent. I think Tina's joined us as well, I've been informed. So apologies, Tina, you've been answering questions like mine as well. There we are, getting the thumbs up on that one. So brilliant. So essentially, that's the demonstration. It's very light looking at the nominal codes. Hopefully it's answered the questions that you need. But what we'll do is we'll dive back to the demonstration, to the slides now, just so we can go through what we've looked at essentially. First off, we looked at the chart of accounts, didn't we, to see the subcategories, profit and loss. So the subcategories of these main groups, they can be created when the chart of accounts for your reporting purposes. That's the whole point of a nominal code, is to put the values and the figures where you need them in order to reflect your reports accurately. Same for the balance sheet, although we didn't delve into it too much. It's exactly the same. The ranges can be amended or added in the chart of accounts for them to be picked up in your management reports. Now, that management reports webinar is going to run on Tuesday and Wednesday. It's a 1 and 2. So register for those. Really informative. You'll get a lot out of them. We then looked at the nominal code setup. So 3 options we had. We looked at the new, gives you a blank record to set up from scratch. Looked at the wizard as well, which was my favorite way of doing things, and I think it should be everybody's favorite way because it does the work for you. Essentially, take as much human error out of it as possible. And then you had the duplicate, and that would copy any nominal code that's already been set up with the same settings. And remember that tip at the bottom, when creating a bank account, always do it in the bank module, always, because it will create the right account and there'll be no need for a conversion afterwards at all. What we're going to do now quickly is look at the nominal record. We're going to dive back to the demonstration. We had a couple of questions before about the details of a nominal record. So I'm going to show you that now by going into the demonstration again. So let's pick on our sales again. We'll go 4001. Here, let's pick on sales south. If I was to double click onto that nominal code, got options now. Got your details, so its name, its balance, what kind of account type it is, if it's active or inactive, and its number here. We also got the actuals at the end date. If you've got budgeting applied, you get the budgets in there also, budgeting columns. But on the left-hand side, you've got memo, and this is for you to attach attachments to. Anything that you would like. It could be receipts, it could be invoices, it could be emails in connection with certain things in connection with your nominal codes. You can attach them here, and it will attach to that nominal code as an attachment. I've said attachment quite a lot there. But the main thing I would use the double click for, when you double click on a nominal code, is the activity on the left-hand side here, because this shows all the activity within that nominal code. And it's even got the drill down boxes in. So if you were doing some investigating into nominal codes, you'd be able to see that's a journal. You'd be able to see, oh, got a sales invoice here. What was that for? And it would bring up that sales invoice for you. So there's no need to hunt around in your data to find things. If you just locate the nominal code, double click, select activity, it's all going to be there in front of you. All the detail at your fingertips. And you've also got this little used graph. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a different nominal code to display that to you. I'm going to scroll down to 4000 and I'm going to pick North because I think there's a bit more of a North. So again, double click on North, got your details, got your memo to add in the attachments. You've got your activity, a lot more activity in here. Your balances. Left-hand side is graph. When you first click on graph, you'll see exactly what I'm seeing. It's blank. Perfectly normal. If you were to click on options at the top, it brings up what do you want to see. Again, if you've got budgets activated, you would select budgets, but in this instance, actuals and prior year. I'm going to do a comparison. Click OK, and there we have it. Look, it's populated all the figures from that nominal code into a graph. You can print, copy or export. Usual rules apply with this one, with your admin. So your bar graph and your line graph. Again, it's just to see your data in a different way. Click close on there. Back to the slides. So that essentially is a nominal record when you double click into it. You'll have the details, your memo, and your activity, as well as the very little used graph. I suggest using that for a more visual representation of that nominal code and its history and what it's been doing. Just checking these questions here. I think the guys are absolutely on top of everything, it looks like. Good question, Fiona. So if you add items to a code as an attachment, how much space do they take up in storage? Depends on the size of the attachment itself. So what I would do is I would check with your IT or look at the file before you attach it. If you right-click properties, it may tell you how big that is going to be. But the question we get asked a lot that is how much is it going to take up, these attachments? And it just depends on the size of the attachment. Sage isn't going to do anything like squash it down or, expand it and make it bigger. It is just going to deal with the size that's been downloaded to it, essentially. So check with your IT on that one, I would. But it's a good question because it is a popular call again. Is it going to take up too much space? Any other questions coming in there? Just while I go through the summary, fire them in. So what we looked at today was nominal codes, what they are, obviously used for every transaction to categorize transactions, all about reporting, putting values where they need it to be so you can find them with ease. Consider carefully these subcategories and what you're going to use. Remember in the demonstration, I was going to use 4101. That would have been terrible for my reporting at the end of the year because it would have went into export sales rather than product sales. So always check that chart of accounts before you finalize any nominal codes. Do some research on it first. We've got the full list of standard default codes. You can amend them and change them. Again, Sage can't really help you out with that because it's the way you want to keep your books. So speak with your accountant or whoever's going to be doing the bookkeeping beforehand just to check why it's been set up in a particular way, just so you're on top of things again there. Your control accounts can't be deleted, and obviously the use for automatic posting as showed again in the background. 100 to sales, 20 to tax was the example that we used. And if creating a bank nominal code, recommended always to do that in the banking module. You can convert them if there's no activity like I showed you, but why take that step when you could just create it from the banking module anyway? Cut out that bit of extra work for yourself. So what's coming next? Well, that was nominal records. We've then got working with the chart of accounts and the trial balance, profit and loss and balance sheet. We've then got running management reports for previous or future financial year. We've got reconciling your age debtors and creditors reports. And we've also got a look at your business dashboard. Remember, you've got to attend 4 of the 6 and the quiz. Must attend the quiz in order to get your management reports 2025 badge. And that quiz is going to be with myself and Jackie. So must. If you haven't registered, register for that now and you will receive your credible badge by the end of the month. Further support as we have the help centre, as always, sage.co.uk/help. Any questions that you do have can be typed into the search for answers bar that's in front of you there. If there's not an article on it and you can't find what you're looking for, you've always got our chat support and our telephone technical support team at hand to help you as well. There may already be webinars that we've created on the subject. I'd be surprised if there wasn't. And you could go to sage.co.uk/webinars to view previous webinars that we've run or register for future ones outside of the Managed Reports badge series. Going to give a minute now for any other questions. Let's see if anything further is going to be added. And we'll leave that 5 minutes. Let's have a quick look here. Okay, just a couple being answered there. I'm going to quickly share with you a video now about the credible badge just while we answer the last few questions. Excellent, lovely jubbly. So hopefully that was nice and clear. Again, good question, Margaret. It's actually 5 of 6. Apologies, not 4. It is 5 of 6 plus the quiz, the all-important quiz at the end. At the quiz, it's all just a bit of fun. We don't mark them ourselves. We ask you to self-mark. It's just a knowledge check about what you've learned throughout the series, just to make sure that you're all up to date. I'll delve into these questions now to see if there's anything I can dive and help with. Well, from Fiona there saying if you were to use a 5-digit code as well as 4 by adding a 1, how can that be sorted or filtered? You would just have to search for the 5-digit code, essentially, for that one, Fiona. So we just have to make a note. Again, this is where it gets a bit complex, why we always say if you stick to 4, it's a lot easier for you to manage. If you were to use 5, you would just have to adjust the way that you were doing things slightly. By that, I mean you would have to search for that exact code if you were doing that and using a filter for it as well. So you use the filters in the same way, but you just be expanding it to the 5th digit. Uh, Sorry for the silence. I'm just checking to see if there's anything I can dive in with. Superb. I think the guys are all on top of these. Brilliant. Good question from Deborah there. Do you have to set up the badges account with the same email that you watch the webinars on? Yes, we send out the badges to the emails that you registered for the webinar series with. So if you've set up with, say, at sage.com, your name in front of it, then that is exactly where the Incredible badge would be sent to as well. It's how we keep track of registrations. Good question, though. I think I'm just going to check with everybody. We're on top of the questions now. Brilliant. Superb. So all that's left for me to say is thank you very much for your attendance today. We look forward to seeing you in the future series. Badger reports again, sage.co.uk/webinars, or if you downloaded the handout, click on the link, get yourself registered, and join us for the rest of the week and also the quiz at the end. But it's been a pleasure speaking to you all today. Hope you have good weeks, and we shall see you soon. Bye for now.